So welcome back to another episode, and today is the 20th anniversary of Dragon Quest VII Dragon Warrior as it was released over here. We're talking about the North American version and 20 years ago in the past, the Japanese version. And Kim is going to talk about her experiences playing it on the 3DS. And
wow.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for Kim.
It's like a long time ago.
It's a little bit now,
yeah.
And I just thought I'd talk about what it was like to be there at that time, 20 years ago, and what Dragon Warrior Dragon Quest VII did at that time. Now, I want to go back to Japan for a bit and go back to the Nintendo 64.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that great old machine. And when it was first announced, everybody was so excited about it. And we're all excited because Dragon Quest games were always on Nintendo consoles. So, of course, the new Dragon Quest VII would be on the next Nintendo 64 console. That made sense. It made total sense.
That makes sense, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, but it didn't happen.
What?
All of a sudden, NX said, no, it's cheaper, it's easier, and we think there's a bigger market for putting the next Dragon Quest game on a PlayStation console. That was extraordinary.
What a decision to make.
What a decision to make, and it changed the entire plateau of the PlayStation. All of a sudden, people start saying, wait a second, especially in Japan, because Dragon Quest is such a big game out there. Mm-hmm. Whoa, wow, I'm getting a PlayStation and instead of an N64, and that's kind of how that went. And I want to say something, is that there was a huge amount of time for this game to come out. Now, this game was in development for a very long time, 5 years, in fact, and it kept getting delayed and delayed. And I remember reading about this in video game magazines, and I was excited about Dragon Quest coming out. I was like, will we get this one? Because we hadn't got a Dragon Quest game at that time in about 9 years. Since 1992, we got Dragon Warrior 4. And I know I've mentioned it a lot on the show, but for anybody who doesn't know, we got the first 4 games out over here. For Dragon Warrior 1 to 4, there's a licensing thing, so they can call it Dragon Quest and all of that. Dragon Quest V in Japan came out. Dragon Quest VI came out. We never got anything, but I was still excited about it. I was like, maybe I'll import it or something like that. But it kept getting delayed, and I'm like, what is going on with this game? Finally, the game was released in Japan. It was a gigantic success, gigantic. I think it was one of the biggest PlayStation games released.
Wow.
It was a gigantic, and how much money it made. So NX was very happy with that.
Yeah, with their decision to switch over.
Yeah, and it seemed to pay off.
Yeah.
It seemed to really pay off. And I must admit, when I saw the graphics, I was like, they look okay. They look okay. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the 3DS version and all that. Here's the fascinating thing about this. When this game was released over here as Dragon Warrior 7, yes, they said after 9 years, you're finally going to get a Dragon Warrior game, another Dragon Warrior game. We're not going to call it Dragon Quest like Japan. It's still called Dragon Warrior. You get straight Dragon Warrior 7. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, not 6. Here's 7. And it was like,
forget the other 2.
Forget the other 2. You don't need those. It's like, but I was excited. It was coming out. Here is the history and why I want to do this video. I'll make an entire other video about all of the games that were released during this year, in the year 2001. It was a massive year for video games.
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. It's only like a few games here. There's a lot more, and I'm going to do a whole episode in 2001, I'm sure. Halo got released that year. Metal Gear Solid 2 got released that year. Final Fantasy X got released that year. Super Smash Brothers got released that year. For people who cared, I was one of them. Shenmue 2 was released that year. Luigi's Mansion was released that year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Pikmin was released that year. Phantasy Star Online was released that year. So
they were all released
everything was released that year. I'm saying that because it was such a huge year for video games.
Definitely.
For next generation games. And then all of a sudden, this game kind of went, whoop. Hey, we're here. I'm here. Hey, guys. Hey.
Don't forget that.
I mean, these games were monumentally huge.
Yeah.
In their graphics and their powers. It was amazing. And then this game came out with graphics that looked like they were from a bunch of years ago. Because it got released in Japan in 2000, and it was looking a little dated. When it came out in 2001, it was looking super dated. And I'm a hardcore Dragon Quest fan. When I got the game and played it, I was like, oh my God.
No.
Whoa. whoa. But of course, I started to play it, and I got into the story and all of that kind of stuff. Me and Kim are gonna talk about all the story and kind of what it meant to us and all that. But it was showing its dates, and this game really underperformed. And I even came in today thinking, am I gonna talk about Dragon Quest VII? Like, nobody even cared about the game when it came out. I did, but I just wanted.
It's a part of history.
It's a part of history.
You gotta bring it up.
And I knew nobody else would talk about this game. Nobody else would care about it. That's why I wanted to take a bit of time to care about it. Is it a great game? Yes and no. I mean,
it had its moments.
It had its moments. Here we go. In 2016, this game got released here, Dragon Quest. I gotta read it. The Fragments of the Forgotten Past. It had a title here, finally. And Kim got a chance to play it. I reviewed it on the show. Me and Kim did a skit together.
We did.
Which is funny.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm just gonna do it just for the fun of it. I'm gonna let the skit play. Now, what's funny about that skit is The Force Awakens had just come out, and I was really hyped. I was a big Star Wars fan.
Can you tell the influence in that?
Well, exactly. You know, I'm playing Rey giving, the lightsaber. And the funny thing that I do is I throw the lightsaber. It's almost like this is before
the movie came out.
Yeah, the next movie came out.
Yeah.
It's like when like Luke Skywalker throws it over his shoulder. I kind of weirdly, I didn't predict it, but it's purely coincidental that I was like, oh, it
when
doesn't.
Rey threw it over.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Or no, Luke threw it over,
Yeah.
and I threw it.
You were
totally,
predicting the movie before it came
by
out.
pure accident. By pure accident. Kim played through the game.
Of course.
Kim.
Yes.
What did you think about Dragon Quest VII?
It was long.
Yes.
That's how I felt compared to the other ones. The shards, man, like, because it's about past, present, and future, you had to go everywhere in the world to look for these shards, and if you missed one, you would get lost. I felt like the game really stuttered for me. There are some points where I was frozen because I couldn't find these shards, and it just kind of threw me out. Of course, I kept pushing through because I love the game. I love Dragon Quest, so I kept pushing through. But that was the downfall for me. The timing and it's all about the shards, really.
It is, because the game doesn't have a cohesive world map to begin with.
You're creating it.
You're creating it,
and then you're going to the past, which can affect the future, and it got really insane. It was I think. When it was written out, it must have been really cool.
Yeah.
Like the idea they're gonna have to go to the past and the future and this, but you're like, but that was a lot.
It comes off as very tedious.
Tedious and heavy.
Yeah, and I must admit, some of the little storylines for all the things that you're assembling with the shards is very fascinating. But after a while, I just hit a point. I'm like, I remember hitting the 100-hour mark, and I'm like, I am so nearly done, and I was not nearly done.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing we want to say about the game. The game is astronomically long in length. I mean, you can't avoid it. You can't go bare bones through it. No. That's how big it is. It's how it feels like a lot of padding to a certain extent.
In a way, yes. Yeah, for
and
sure.
all of that. And the other thing I want to say about this game is the music.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. What do you want to say?
Kind of different to the other ones, more dreary in
More dreary.
some ways, because Dragon Quest is very happy and peppy and yes, love, all that stuff. This was just a little bit different.
It had this ominous feeling to the music.
Sure, yeah.
It sounds really weird to say this, but when I play the game, I kind of felt a little depressed. And I felt that the graphics were a bit of a letdown. The music was really kind of dragging me down. I at that time, I had lost my job, because they were downsizing the company, so I was kind of
maybe that just played into
and it played into it. The emotions,
not the game to be playing. Then.
Yeah, no, not the game to be playing, and all of that. And to be honest with you, I could have gotten off Dragon Quest VII very, very easily because of all of this, and then plus
that was
some.
a lot of competing at that time.
There was a lot going on at that time, but that music just totally was so strange, so eerie, and I was like, man, this is a real bummer game in a lot of ways. But I went through it, and the one thing I do want to say is I do like the game. I know we're saying a lot of negative things about it, and all that. Do you like the game?
I do. I enjoyed it. I mean, I love the group of characters together, and even like the boy riding on the dog. I thought that was different and cute. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I like it when an animal or something gets played into it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a game that I probably won't pick up again, but I'm happy I completed it.
No, I know. It's just one of those.
You know what I mean? Like some games you can be like, oh, I will play that game again and again.
Yeah.
But this is like, I did it. It's done.
I know.
Don't need to do it again.
Even though I went into the 3DS version, because for the review, I was like, I gotta go in and do this. And the one thing I want to say is the 3DS version is such a better version of the game.
Yeah, you showed me the differences.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It definitely.
Oh, I remember showing you that. You're like, oh,
That's
wow.
what you played on. I could understand.
Yeah. The only sad thing is about the 3DS version is like, I wish it could get blown up onto a TV so you could play it that way. And because they've done the dual screens, I don't know if this will be ever.
If they remastered it, would you play it?
Well, this is already a remaster of that.
But if they remaster it.
Of course I would.
Oh, okay.
Of course I would. And spend
wonderful.
another 130, 40 hours playing it. But
shards.
it was so interesting. One more thing I want to say about Dragon Warrior 7.
I love that. Sorry, I just love how this one says Dragon Warrior, and then we got this one says Dragon Quest.
Well, here,
look at that.
Here is the soundtrack that I bought back then.
Yeah.
I want to feel that dreariness all throughout my life. And then, there's the difference with the logo, the Dragon Warrior.
I just love how they just take that out, places back in.
And quite literally, that was the last time that Warrior was ever used. When Dragon Warrior 8, Dragon Quest 8 came out, it was finally a Dragon Quest game. They finally secured the licensing and all of that. Oh, but here's the thing I wanted to show. It's fascinating. Here's the box of the original game. I gotta find it. I showed it in some other things. Look at this. Coming 2002, Dragon Warrior 4 on the PlayStation.
Oh, wow.
And right here, I'm gonna show it right here. It never came out over here.
What?
It was out in Japan. It was out in Japan, and this game.
They got it wrong. They didn't mean to put it in there. They
No,
meant to put it somewhere else.
They were pre-advertising something. They probably were so into translating it, and then Dragon Warrior 7 sales were so not good that they just said, "Oh, we'll cancel this." But here is the PlayStation Japan version of it. And it's a really good version of a remaster of Dragon Quest IV, but we almost had that and we didn't because nobody, I'm talking to you, nobody bought Dragon Warrior 7 when it was released, unfortunately, because they were playing all of these amazing games over here. I mean, Halo alone, you could spend, months and months just playing multiplayer, and Phantasy Star Online, I was sucked into that for hundreds of hours and all of that. And then the GameCube was released. It was a really...
Too much competition, I think. But they had to release it probably. Yeah,
they had to release it. I mean, they'd done the translation. We had to have it out. And by the time it came out, it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wrong timing, wrong everything, but still a really good game. A traditional Dragon Quest game, combat and all. And I just wanted to come in and talk about it and the history of it and, what it was like 20 years ago to buy Dragon Warrior 7 at that time. I really wanted to make that apparent and all that. So, guys, we're happy to talk about the 20th anniversary of Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior 7. So, anyways, guys, until next time.